Reasons for discontent in Turkey. The primary grievance of Turkish historians and viewers was the scriptwriters' liberal handling of historical facts. The Ottoman Empire, which existed from the late 13th century to the early 20th century, left a profound mark on world history, and Turks take great pride in their heritage. Consequently, any distortions are perceived painfully. For example, the series completely ignored the existence of Said Abdullah, one of Hürrem Sultan's sons who died in childhood. Although this character played no significant role in history, he was an important part of Suleiman the Magnificent's dynastic line. Another complaint was the implausible depiction of Hürrem's path to the harem. The series portrays her, a captive girl, reaching the Sultan almost immediately. In reality, women entering the harem underwent years of training. They were taught languages, etiquette, music, dance, and even the basics of court management to present themselves worthily before the Sultan. This process could take years, and only a few were honored with becoming concubines or wives of the ruler. Religious circles in Turkey expressed outrage over the revealing costumes of the female characters. Deep décolletages, fitted dresses, and perfect Hollywood-style curls sharply contrasted with traditional Ottoman notions of female modesty. In the 16th century, women in the harem wore closed dresses with long sleeves, and their hair was concealed under headscarves. Details like exposed shoulders or loose hair would have been considered unacceptable. Additionally, the confusion with titles caused irritation. The series often used incorrect forms of address for characters, which sounded as absurd to Turkish viewers as calling Ivan the Terrible a king. Fictional plots and their historical context. The series is replete with fictional storylines that added drama but drew criticism for historical inaccuracy. For instance, the love story between the Sultan's daughter Muraima and Bali Bey was entirely invented. In real history, Muraima Sultan, the beloved daughter of Suleiman and Hürrem, was married to Rustam Pasha, the Grand Vizier, and her personal life was strictly controlled by court traditions. Romantic intrigues with a military commander, as shown in the series, would have been impossible due to the strict norms of the Ottoman court. Another fictional element was the appearance of the physician Pedro, who personally treated Muraima. In the Ottoman Empire of that time, women in the harem had virtually no contact with men other than the Sultan and his closest relatives. Medical treatment was conducted by female physicians or eunuchs, and access for outsider men to the harem was strictly prohibited. This plot device baffled viewers familiar with historical realities. The series also exaggerated Hürrem's influence on the fate of the Grand Vizier Ibrahim Pasha. Hürrem Sultan was undoubtedly one of the most influential women in Ottoman history, but her role in political decisions was limited. She could influence the Sultan through private conversations, but direct interference in state affairs, as depicted in the series, would have been unthinkable. Ibrahim Pasha, Suleiman's close friend and ally, was executed in 1536 by the Sultan's decision, and historians still debate the reasons for this. However, Hürrem's influence on this event was likely minimal. Public reaction and attempts to ban. The criticism of the series reached such a scale that Turkey's Supreme Council for Radio and Television received around 70,000 complaints. Viewers submitted petitions and even appealed directly to President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, demanding a ban on the Magnificent Century. They believed the series tarnished the Ottoman legacy and distorted the image of Suleiman the Magnificent, who is revered in Turkey as one of the greatest rulers. The creators of the series, in turn, defended their stance, emphasizing that the Magnificent Century is a work of fiction, not a documentary. They argued that while historical accuracy is important, the series' success relied more on an engaging plot, vivid characters, and drama. These elements made the series popular not only in Turkey, but also worldwide. As a result, some scenes with revealing costumes and intimate moments were cut to appease the discontent of religious and conservative viewers. However, the overall approach to the series remained unchanged. The writers continued to balance historical foundations with artistic fiction to maintain the attention of millions of viewers. Historical context. The Ottoman Empire in the era of Suleiman. To better understand the reasons for the criticism, it's worth delving into the historical context of Suleiman the Magnificent's era, 1520 to 1566. This period is considered the golden age of the Ottoman Empire. Suleiman, known in Europe as the Magnificent and in the Muslim world as Kanuni, the lawgiver, conducted numerous military campaigns, expanding the empire's borders to Hungary, North Africa, and the Persian Gulf. His reign was marked not only by military victories, but also by reforms in law, culture, and architecture. Suleiman was a patron of the arts, and poetry, calligraphy, and architecture flourished at his court. The renowned architect Sinan, who created the Suleimani Mosque in Istanbul, was one of the era's key figures. However, the series pays little attention to these achievements, focusing instead on palace intrigues and the Sultan's personal life. This caused dissatisfaction among those who wanted a fuller reflection of the Ottoman Empire's cultural and political successes. Hürrem Sultan, the series' main character, was a unique figure in real life. Originally from the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, likely Ukraine, she was captured and sold into the harem. Her rise from concubine to the Sultan's legal wife was an unprecedented event in Ottoman history. Hürrem became the first woman to officially receive the title of Haseki Sultan, and her influence on Suleiman was significant. She engaged in philanthropy, funding the construction of mosques, schools, and hospitals, and corresponded with European monarchs, including King Sigismund I of Poland. However, the series often exaggerates her role in political intrigues, which was another reason for criticism. Cultural impact of the Magnificent Century. Despite the criticism, the Magnificent Century became a true sensation. It is broadcast in more than 70 countries, from the Middle East to Latin America. The series not only popularized Ottoman history, but also sparked a surge of interest in Turkish culture. Tourists from around the world began visiting Istanbul to see Topkapi Palace, the Suleimani Mosque, and other sites linked to Suleiman's era. Jewelry stores started offering Ottoman-style accessories inspired by the series' costumes, and fashion brands launched collections featuring elements of traditional Turkish clothing. The series also fueled a boom in Turkish cereals on the international market. Projects like Resurrection, Ertugrul, and Establishment. Osman continued the tradition of historical dramas, but with a greater emphasis on national pride and historical accuracy. In Turkey, the term dizi, Turkish for series, became synonymous with high-quality, multi-episode dramas that gained global popularity. Conclusion. The Magnificent Century remains one of the most iconic series of the 21st century, despite all the controversies and criticism. Its success is driven not only by vivid imagery and a dramatic plot, but also by its ability to spark interest in the rich history of the Ottoman Empire. While the series did not avoid mistakes, it opened up a world of intrigue, luxury, and complex human fates to millions of viewers. In Turkey, it sparked discussions about how national history should be portrayed, and globally, it strengthened the Turkish entertainment industry's position. The Magnificent Century proved that, even with historical liberties, a series can become a cultural phenomenon if it touches the hearts of its audience.